The village has been destroyed, and madness has already reached a boiling point in the minds of the Count's men. You must infiltrate the manor and put a stop to this by any means necessary. The fate that befell Ogden Village is only a single raindrop in the storm that is coming. The boundless horrors of mishandled corruption cannot be conveyed simply through words. I only hope that you can find and contain the seed before it is too late. The Count accosted me and stole a very dangerous object. A seed that I have kept hidden from humanity. Somehow he knew that I possessed it. He cannot possibly know how dangerous it is. His attempts to harness its power will court disaster. You must hurry to the village. At the very least, those who are still sane may be convinced to aid in containing the seed. Corruption once had a purpose. Let us term it a disorganizer of what would otherwise be ordered. One consequence of this chaos is the warping of pathways, both through the woods and in the mind. The land so afflicted is never the same when trod upon a second time. Men afflicted by corruption know not where or when they are, only that they are in pain. And you appear as a horrible creature to their distorted senses. All children have imaginary friends. Most grow out of that phase. A rare few refuse to let go, creating real from unreal through sheer stubbornness. Gods born of man certainly exist, but did the gigantic red tiger named Farul actually run the plains of the primordial world? There is no way to know. Will the world end if she and her savage ilk return? The answer, I imagine, is up to those who would stand and fight. Corruption once had a purpose. Let us term it a disorganizer of what would otherwise be ordered. One consequence of this chaos is the warping of pathways, both through the woods and in the mind. The land so afflicted is never the same when trod upon a second time. Men afflicted by corruption know not where or when they are, only that they are in pain. And you appear as a horrible creature to their distorted senses. All children have imaginary friends. Most grow out of that phase. A rare few refuse to let go, creating real from unreal through sheer stubbornness. Gods born of man certainly exist, but did the gigantic red tiger named Farul actually run the plains of the primordial world? There is no way to know. Will the world end if she and her savage ilk return? The answer, I imagine, is up to those who would stand and fight on that day. Be glad that today is not that day, as far as I know. The village has been destroyed, and madness has... You must... 20 years ago, in recent years, this was... Go.
Owner's house. Renly's house. They had real places to live. I was always so envious, but I guess they're like me now. Vagabonds. Vagrants. Well, it begs the question. Is this home now? You've caught me at a moment of sappiness, hero. My apologies. I always make sure to avoid noblewomen like Latis. Her kind seem to think I'm insincere for reasons neither you nor I could ever comprehend, I'm sure. Still, I certainly heard about her, and I've heard what she said about the manor. I know lies, hero, and she isn't one. As an esteemed member of... For company, it was my pleasure to sup with the outlaws, the deranged, and the unwanted. It won't be like this forever. Your sin, isn't it glorious? As an esteemed member of no clan at all, I had the distinct honour of wandering through the lovely sights of all 4 seasons. Summer heat, winter chill, take your pick. For company, it was my pleasure to sup with the outlaws, the deranged, and the unwanted. It's simply unthinkable that I never met a nice girl to settle down with, isn't it? It won't be like this forever. I'm gonna build my palace someday. Been planning it since I was small and found myself on my own. Imagine with me, if you will, a vast span of wood above you in the trees. That's the foundation you're looking at. You ascend a tremendous spiral staircase around an ancient trunk and find yourself approaching a treehouse worthy of the first ones. Dozens of lavish bedrooms, two stocked kitchens, tall spires, a tower that looks out over all of Ogham, and half a farrel for good measure. Isn't it glorious? That's where I really live. This cold, damp, hungry world is just an illusion. Spirits in the trees be damned. You actually entered the Red Veil and survived. Every Ogham kid knows, if you step one... I was the first to know I'm a bit the village. Oh, Una? Don't... That's where I stand. Those glowing blue eyes make it hard to sleep at night. I'd wear something over my face to block out the glare, but, silly me, I left my sleeping veil back at my palace.
Oh, that Finn's a bad influence. No daughter of mine will consort with such a type. We should have the village guards give him a good beating just to teach him a lesson.
Though I suppose nursing a grudge is foolish, given they're likely all dead now. Owner's house. You've... So the cultists really did have a king lurking out there in the shadows. Shame. I might have followed him myself if he'd simply promised decent meals instead. Thank you, hero. It's not the result I was hoping for, but at least I know the truth. Clearfell's all I have left now. If I was a drinking man, it'd be a sobering thought.
It is good to see you. I understand you did what you had to. The great sword Agnar is it is an ancient when the position of count was. This shade is a curious one. It is quite odd to have a blue-eyed shadow in the camp watching us, but things truly have been taking a turn for the better since you freed him. Some of the folk here consider his presence a sign of good luck. Though I wonder if it is actually you that brings us these better fortunes. The graves of our people lie beneath the Eternal's tombs. This is the cycle of life as we have always known it. That is why we... He wears an eloquent mask of words. I doubt anyone here has seen what lies beneath. For many always masked. I survived. But all that I was is gone. Count Gianor's there is scant hope in him. He doubts himself in many ways. Renly brings the strength, Finn brings the wit, and I'm doing my best. Welcome to the camp of the lost, stranger. Latest is from a prominent family in her clan, so I didn't know her well. But I did take hope from her actions. If a noblewoman could marry a commoner, then perhaps a commoner would be free to marry whoever she wants as well. It makes me think about the last conversation I ever had with my father. It was an argument. Though it tears at my heart, I choose to believe that deep down, he understood me. Finn makes fun of my collection, but I think it's charming.
How's the clearing? It's a shame what happened. Oh, he tried to... The girl's a shining light in a time of darkness. If it weren't for her music, well, I don't know what I'd do. Every time I listen to her songs, I know I have to try harder to defend this place. Any fear and excuses be damned. A curse has befallen this land. That's what Una feels. That's what I say too. The beasts of Ogham have been friendly to men until a shadow started oozing out of the manor. These rabid and misshapen animals are not to blame. They've been driven mad by something we can't see, only feel in our bones. Last time I felt something like this, I was a much younger man. I've had a few things go missing around the forge. Underneath that boastful exterior, there's just... well, I'm sure it's obvious, even to strangers. His mother was a kind and honest woman. Shame he doesn't take after her. This hooded one is here on your honor. Don't take this as a threat, but it's your head if he turns out to be as evil as he looks. Tread as heavily as you lot, some even say. Bad enough I have all these folks to protect. I've been worried sick about my son ever since the Count's men arrested him. I was hoping you might have seen him when you were in their custody. He's a big lad. I found him washed up on the river every day hearing. This part of Farrell has been a fair... We weren't able to take part in the Bloody Flowers Rebellion, but... Renly's the name. But I've no fear. I'll smith for you what I can. Some men do not have to earn honor. Some are simply born with it by virtue of their status. Gianor is doubly a monster for giving away what others have sought their entire lives. He was born into the role rather than being chosen by the clan, and now he has squandered that by serving himself above all others. I used to believe in him, but now I cannot even stand the thought of him. What would you like?
That place is a madhouse. Every day was spent threading a careful line. Question the Count, and you'd get arrested. Flatter him too much, and he'd grow paranoid and arrest you anyway. The Countess watched all of us. They brought lone villagers into their... That place, the Countess watched all of us with cold eyes. The nobles began to change. Strange proclivities emerged. They brought lone villagers into their rooms in the dead of night, never to be seen again. Eamon and I tried to flee, but they caught us. When she came to us from the Vastiri desert, we nobles were just happy the Count had finally found a wife. If we had known what was to come, we never would have celebrated. From the moment she arrived, she spent her time whispering dreadful little barbs in his ear. He became rather agitated and started doubting himself, doubting his bloodline. He had a scholar repeatedly investigate whether the Eternals had dirtied his ancestry. When he found out that he might have had an unwelcome interloper in his family tree, he became fixated on proving himself, even though we all repeatedly assured him he already had our loyalty. He's been obsessed with gaining power ever since, and I think the Countess promised him a way to achieve it. So, you know of it. I remember the night it all began. The Count and his men returned in the witching hour, carrying something hidden from sight. We didn't know what it was at the time, but we certainly learned soon. It was alive, and he needed to feed it. There is only one thing for certain. Count Gianor must die. He ordered the guard to round up everyone in the village, and when we resisted, they burned it to the ground. Enter the manor. Take our vengeance upon him. Changes came slowly. There were whispers of the downtrodden and clanless going missing. Nobody of consequence. The Count's men were simply cleaning up the ne'er-do-wells, those that contributed nothing. But then, the Count started changing the penalties for common crimes. 5 men were arrested after a simple scuffle over payment. A woman was arrested for adultery, like we were somehow living under the tyranny of the Eternals all over again. Charges became commonplace for almost anything. Living in the manor, my husband and I were somewhat protected, But we saw what was happening. All of these criminals were sentenced to hard labor, digging away beneath the manor until their strength was spent. When that happened, he hanged them and threw their bodies to that creature. I don't know what the Count is looking for beneath the manor. Perhaps he hopes for proof that his heritage is actually pure. Perhaps he's just gone well and truly mad. He's torn a massive hole right in the middle of the manor, a living testament to what he's done to our way of life.
Hello. Finn makes fun of my collection. It's beautiful. I accept.
Greetings.
I must keep calculating.
Quickly.
I must keep calculating.
What have you learned?
Time to change plans.
Greetings.
Time to change plans.
What have you learned? How can I be of
How can I perfect myself?
Yes. Yes.
Yo, you there? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I still can't hear you if you're saying anything.